Good evening and warm welcome to all of you. This second session, which all of us are looking forward to. Affectionate welcome to our guests. As you all know, trainers and coaches, we have this special session that is, we used to call it center stage, where the members get the opportunity to really train their skills on training and coaching, apart from continuously improving communication and leadership skills. Today we have our member who is a pioneer and champion in the area of operational management, and also a pioneer and champion in Toastmasters as well. He is a consultant, trainer, and coach with 3 decades of experience in the operations for the corporate world, mainly in operations and quality management. He is a sought-after global trainer in operational excellence and has coached more than 1,000 professionals, including CXOs, that is CEOs and CEOs, CFOs, managers and engineers to drive excellence in business in India and many other countries like China, Japan, USA, Middle East, Thailand, Sri Lanka, Europe, and so on. He is a certified Lean Six Sigma Master Black Belt from SBTI, Texas, and trained by Mckinsey Consultants as a Lean Practitioner at Rock Hill, USA. A certified executive coach from CFI, Chennai, India. By qualification, he is a mechanical engineer and has a master's in quality management from one of the prestigious institutes in India, that's BITS Pilani, and also an executive MBA from the Elite Indian Institute of Management. He is currently the founder and CEO of Beyond Z Consulting LLP, where he does all this consulting mainly in the quality management, operational excellence, Six Sigma, Kanban material replenishment, system strategy deployment, and so on. He had an illustrious career before he started on his own. He was the head of learning and development in an MNC Tyco Electronics. Before that, he was a country manager for operational excellence. He had spent almost a good years of time, almost a decade and a half in Tyco. And Toastmasters, it goes a long way as well. Almost more than 2 decades. He has been a champion speaker. He made us proud by becoming the first runner-up in TIRB Speech International Stage Speech Contest in the year 2005. It was a worldwide contest, and he also became a runner-up in the district ISC and evaluation contest. Ladies and gentlemen, he's a complete professional to talk on operational coaching. Today he's talking about coaching on the fly for managers, functional heads, business owners, senior executives. We all will fall in one of those categories. He's going to make it simple by sharing several anecdotes, which are examples to highlight the application, methodology, and benefits in operational management. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands to it with a thunderous applause. The keynote speaker for this evening, distinguished Toastmaster Pradeep Kumar.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, for that wonderful introduction. I'm so elated. So today I'm going to talk about operational coaching, and which the Toastmasters already explained. It's coaching on the fly, coaching on demand, and coaching to solve the problem at hand. So I'm sure that all of you would fall into one of the categories. You could be a working professional, you could be a business owner. I'm sure most of you are coaches. If not, at least you're the one who can take insights from stories and create your ideas and new things from listening to someone else's stories and experience. Because today I'm going to tell stories. I'm going to tell several stories and anecdotes from my life experience, through which you'll get clarity on what I'm going to talk about, that is operational coaching. You'll understand the traits of an operational coach, what's the approach, and what are the benefits of an operational coaching. So I'd like to go back over 3 decades when I was a very junior person. I was just about 3 or 4 years experience. It was my second company, an Indian company called IFB. And that was the early 90s when ISO 9000 was just begun. People were working on quality systems, and my company sent me out for this training as a lead assessor. And there was a Britisher who came down and trained us. And I had this responsibility of implementing quality systems, the ISO 9000 way. And I was pretty new to industry. I had very less experience. And nobody in the company knows about it. So whom do I look up to? Whom do I ask? We had a consultant who would come once in a month and give some ideas and go back. So there was this God-sent man, the ex-managing director of Crompton's, Mr. Dakshinamurthy, who was a consultant for electrical motors in our company. And he would come twice a week. He would come to consult on electrical motors. Unfortunately, or fortunately for me, my boss didn't use his services so much. Most of the time, this person used to sit there in our little cabin in the center of the shop and chat with us. He would also bring his lunchbox, and during lunch, we used to have a lot of discussion. It also happens that this person was the first person in India to get that lead assessor certification for ISO 9000. And so I had the best person sitting in front of me. And I had all the questions, I had all the answers from him, and a lot of challenging things, discussions with him. And my understanding of operational excellence, my understanding of quality management became so easy. In fact, I would say that even today, I'm pretty good at quality management thanks to Mr. Dakshinamurthy. So that was, in a way, talking to an expert and understanding the requirements on the work I have been doing. So they say that an expert is one who knows more and more of less and less. So that's my first story. Now let me tell you the second anecdote. As I moved on from that company, I moved to a bigger company, Tyco Electronics. I got trained on Six Sigma and Lean. I got an opportunity to travel around the world, helping people. All was going well when one day I got a call from John Henshaw from UK. He's the Operation Excellence Director in UK. And he said, hey, you have a challenge. You need to go to Esztergom in Hungary. I said, for what? Oh, there's a problem there. We are making a connector which goes into the Audi brake light switch. And when the car goes over a puddle of water, the water enters things. So there's a defect in the production, the product we make, which is an injection molded product. It's a plastic product. So I told John, hey, I'm not an expert in injection molding. And in Europe, in automotive group, in our company, all the experts are sitting in Europe. He said, nothing doing, you're going. Should I talk to your boss here or should I talk to your global boss? Pradeep, your tickets are going to be booked, you're going. So I was a little scared. I said, okay, let me go and try this. I'm going to go and teach the experts. So I went there to Hungary. And when I went there, I realized that they were doing some complex testing, what we call as design of experiments. They had blocked one machine and they were doing a lot of testing. And I realized that they were doing all the wrong things. And also I realized that the plant manager and the team wanted someone to put things into perspective, wanted someone to talk to the global quality director, the global director for sales, for customer support, and present the situation and say, hey, things are under control. That's all they wanted. So that's what I did. First of all, I simplified the thing. I said, you're making things too much complex because the customer said you do a design of experiment, you are doing that. So, and I did that. And John had told me you may have to probably go week after week for month after month, but I didn't have to go back after that. So basically, I simplified things. So I think as a coach, what we need to do is think of simplicity And my favorite quote is like simplicity of thought and accuracy of action. So move on to my next anecdote. As a consultant, I was working with one of the large companies in India. They are into several businesses, including automotive. And they make these shock absorbers, you know, the ones which cushion you when you go on a puddle or on a bumpy road. And so I was working with this team. We had already trained these people in Six Sigma, if you know Six Sigma. And typically when you work on Six Sigma and when you do consulting, actually you're doing coaching, which I call operational coaching. And they told me that, Pradeep, this problem is 23-year-old. I said, come on, you want me to help you solve a 23-year-old problem? And I don't know anything about dampers. I don't come from that industry. Nevertheless, I was a consultant and I had to work with them. So what I did was I started looking for resources within the company. I said, who's the one who knows about this product very well? Oh, this person, he sits in our Pune plant, he's retired, but he still comes to office. Okay, let's set up a meeting with him. Who knows who's developing the testing machine for this? Oh, we have this vendor, he's brilliant. Okay, set up a meeting with him. What standards do you use? Oh, we use the Japanese standard and someone in Japan, our affiliate, knows about it. Okay, let's talk to him. So this is what I did. And I got speaking to everyone. And eventually the problem was like they had something like 30% rejections got brought down to about 90%, very small level. So you see, I was not a master in this field, but what I did was I took all those resources. So this is what comes to mind is what Tony Robbins says. And I think for all of us coaches, that's what we should do. He says, it's not the lack of resources. It is the lack of resourcefulness that stops you. So your ability to tap into the resource, if it's available, or find another way, is what we should do. And that's what I did. And it worked wonders, and they were very happy. Now I will move on to another aspect of it and tell you another story, which is coaching on demand. Now, this is coaching on demand as part of my operational coaching offering. So what is coaching on demand? When in executive coaching, it's about 6 months duration. You have to set up a meeting. You have to have a lot of prior discussions and then, go about the coaching intervention. But in coaching on demand, when you need it, you want the coaching. So to drive this point home, I like to give you an example which is very different. And this is like going to the doctor. And this is also a current problem. I have this had this severe burning in my throat. And so we were wondering what's the problem? So I got a lot of advice. Maybe you have a sore throat or maybe you have cold. And so I started treating that by salt water gargling, by putting rock salt, by putting salt from the Himalayas, all that stuff. But it was not working. And I thought, let me Google. And I know Google is dangerous stuff. Nevertheless, I Googled and then it was scary. I stopped. I said, no, that's not a wise thing to do. I thought, what's the best thing? I said, why not go to a doctor? Maybe pay him a small amount. And so I went to the doctor and he checked up and he said it's acidity, it's reflux, because I think we Indians use a lot of spicy food, and at my house, it's very, very spicy. So it's reflux. So what now? Why I'm giving this example is this is almost like coaching, as not consulting, because I said, okay, what the doctor did was he clarified my doubts. He helped put rest my anxiety. I've still not taken the tablets he has given, but now I know that I could try something. I could work around it. So this is like a coaching on demand. You want to ask somebody expert on it and then feel okay. Then take your own things on how you want to move about. And then I move on to my last aspect. This is something related to Toastmasters. Okay, this is about coaching operational coaching is something where you see results very fast. And all coaching, in particular operational coaching, is where you have the goodwill of the coach. And here I like to give an example from Toastmasters, again, which is very current, which happened yesterday. So here, there's a new club here, which I helped them start a couple of years back when I was the area director. And they were going in for a debate competition. So a couple of days back, they called me and said, Pradeep, we need a little bit of coaching. I said, okay, who's the other team? They said, that's LA 1924. I said, oh, that's my old club. That is Toastmaster Manoj's current club. And that's like considered the best club in the country. And one of the oldest clubs. And I looked at the list of participants, they were like stalwarts, like 15, 20 years, extremely good speakers. I said, this is tough. I said, nevertheless, let me come on. And we had a 1-hour session. And I said, okay, go on with your speeches and I will give my rebuttals. And we did that. And I gave some ideas. And then I was in their group, in their WhatsApp group. And I saw a lot of energy. They were discussing, they were changing it. And as they were doing that, I was thinking, hey, this team should win. And then it from should win to say, like, I wish they win. I started praying for them almost, because I'm the coach. I started praying for them. I said, they should win. And last night at 8 o'clock, I got a call from the founder president of this club, which you could call it as underdogs. And he called and I said, hey, what happened? He said, you know what? They just announced, and I want to tell you this first, that we won. So that was amazing. So what I did was just put things together, listen to them, gave them ideas. And more importantly, that I had this goodwill for them, I had this thing that they should win. So that is the coach's goodwill and desire helps in results. And also it's so fast, you see the results fast. So the coach is also totally involved. This is the last aspect, what I want to tell you. So basically I've told you several anecdotes, and in each of the anecdotes, I've tried to drive one point home. So I like to sort of rephrase all the points, what I've already mentioned. So the overall approach is first is that an operational coach is someone who's expert in his or her field. And it could be like Mr. Dakshinamurthy, who's an expert in quality management. I'm not an expert in molding. I'm not an expert in making dampers, but I've got trained on problem solving. So that's how I could help them. An operational coach has to be resourceful. Operational coach has to make things simple. So it's about simplicity of thought, the Hungary example. And it's about on-demand coaching, which is like going to the doctor. It's like on-demand. And like the debate, the results are fast. You see the results fast. And also you get the goodwill of the coach. The goodwill of the coach is always there. So ladies and gentlemen, I've just told you some anecdotes to drive home my point about operational coaching. And from each of these anecdotes, there are some areas which will say why this is so important and what's the way we work with coaches and clients in coaching them on the go, on the fly, and on demand. With that, I hand back to the Toastmaster, and I'm open for any questions, suggestions, or any ideas. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, DT and Pradeep. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause for our keynote speaker, Pradeep. In fact, Pradeep has been a pillar for many clubs, particularly our club, which he made it once the #1 in the world, and it was #1 for quite some time. The international presidents, the CEO, all acknowledged it. It's all because he has put in systems in place. For a Six Sigma champion who practiced all those quality management, it was It was a cakewalk for him to come into the club as president and put systems in place, and it really worked. We never tried to achieve anything. It automatically, everything was achieved automatically. Of course, he is a pioneer in some of the areas. We really enjoyed some of the wonderful quotes he mentioned: simplicity of thought and accuracy of action. Another one, it's not the lack of resources, it's the lack of resourcefulness. Coaching on demand, I think that is the need of the hour. That's going to be the future. I wish all our trainers and coaches a good time in coaching on demand. And please have some questions if you don't get this opportunity. He's an expert in his area. Please feel free to ask your questions. Thank you. Yes, Hemant.
Yes, DTM. Pradeep Kumar, I could very well connect with the topic because I am from the same field. And just last week, I took a break from my manufacturing job where I worked for 30 years. And I also worked in the field of operations management and quality QMS and Six Sigma, DIMA, I call these things. And I took a break to get into this training. Voluntarily, I left my job, and now I'm a new kid on the block in this field. So I could very well connect with your topic. I have a question for you.
Sure.
Like in sports also, we see there are many successful coaches. They are not necessarily successful players. Then how they are able to impress their protégé, the players who went on to become best one in the world? So how that relation they build and still get a good respect?
You mean in you mean in sports?
No, like in the sports,
Okay.
coach not necessarily be that kind of excellence he has, but he makes people that that much competent, and they get to the highest position.
Correct.
Players.
I think this is exactly what we do as things. So, for example, where in all my examples I gave you, I'm actually working with people who are experts in their respective field. I'm not an expert in molding. I'm not an expert in damping. Probably I may not even do so well in the debate as today as these people have done. You know, they played very well. So I think it's about understanding the subject and then studying it. And when you study it and when you've seen it for many years and you know the nuances of it, then you're able to do things well. Maybe you played a little bit. Yeah, I did participate in debates. I did solve problems in my company. So I know how to solve problems. So I get that experience. But I may not be the best in what I do, but I've been able to, you know, have studied so much about that subject, just like I or you or anybody. And so we are able to give those inputs because we have a very holistic perspective of the topic. And the other one is that even when I got trained as an executive coach, we say that this profession is called the helping profession. So we, at some point in time, we get a kick of helping. So I said that I wanted this team to win the debate. So that's become, you may say, selfish. You know, we all have those selfish things. For this, our selfish motive is that the person we train or the person we mentor should win. So I think that's what works. Very, very relevant question. All the best coaches are not the best players, isn't it? Thank you.
Right.
Next question, anyone? Anyone has any questions?
Quickly, yeah, I have a question.
Yes, DTM.
Yeah, great. Pradeep, thank you so much for this wonderful speech. I've listened to it very careful. I have a question about coaching. So before you become an operational coach, did you go for training to be an operational coach, or did you become an operational coach after being an operational person? I just want to know the difference there.
Yeah, I'm actually trained as an executive coach, and this operational coach is something new which I'm coming up with, because yeah, so there's something new which I'm coming up with, and I don't think there are many people who are calling this as operational coach. I've seen a couple of things across the globe who are talking about operational coaching, because operational coaching in my thought process is about coaching to help companies reach operational excellence. And it's about working on operations. It's working on a lot of tactical stuff. So you see, it's not a full-fledged executive coaching where we're working with somebody where he or she wants to work on executive presence, or want to work on delegation, or want to work on leadership. But it's just these small things. So you have somebody, you want to discuss with someone some small point. Maybe you have a customer complaint and you want to just solve it, or you're working with a team and you have a challenge. So that's where this comes in. It's very operational. It's not so much strategic. I hope. Yeah, it's a new thing which I've come up with. Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. No other questions?
No other questions. Then
Shamraj,
Shamraj, sir. Shamraj.
I enjoyed the presentation, sir. I'm digesting the points that you said. That's why I'm not able to come up with a question. Many aspects that you covered were new to me, so I enjoyed it, and I'm taking them deep into my heart. I love the way you said these are the people who give us more and more about the less and less. That opened a diverse view of thoughts. So layer by layer, I'm thinking about what you said. I have noted down points. So I don't have a question now, but then I thought I'll open up to give you a feedback. It was fantastic. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
So we have a question by our guest, Liko. Thank you, Liko, for the question. The question is, people might be asking the qualification to be the operational coach. Should we need to have some credibility as a coach in terms of qualification?
In terms of qualification, I think there are many aspects of it. The very ways you look at it. Suppose you're working with some big multinational companies, they are looking at whether you're a certified coach. But I see there are so many coaches out there, including Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins is probably the highest paid coach. I don't think I think probably at the age of 17 or 18, he started learning this. He went for some training by John Rowe or someone. And so there are many people who didn't go through any formal coaching. I went through a formal coaching certification. But I think many of these great people, very dynamic, self-starters, self-learners, they don't need a certification. And by the sheer work which they have done, by the changes they have made to people. So Tony Robbins has worked with like presidents of America and great athletes and actors and everybody. So they don't need a formal coaching, but they've read a lot. They read a lot. So I think for people who read a lot, it's good enough.
The second question he has is Lean Six Sigma certification will be okay to start with.
Yeah, Lean Six Sigma certification. So if you do, for example, a green belt or a black belt, so in the training, you get some ideas about how you should work on solving problems. And once you start working with companies on solving problems and training them, eventually what you do is coaching. And that's why I came up with this thing about operational coaching, because I've done that all my life, at least for about 2 decades, working with people on solving problems. So I find that every small thing is an opportunity for a coaching. Maybe that I told you about these examples. So it's an opportunity to coach and make changes. So it would be definitely a good thing because it gives a complete perspective, gives a very structured way of looking at things. Also, you learn a little bit of lean management and also learn a little bit of statistical analysis. Though I told you about simplicity of thought, when I went to Hungary, there were like statisticians there in the plant. And but that's not necessary. It's the approach. You can use, not very often we need to use complex statistical analysis to solve problems.
Thank you so much.